Hello and welcome to this tutorial on installing Visual Studio 2022 for Windows 10 and 11. To begin, open a browser, search for Visual Studio 2022, select this link, and then select Community 2022 for the free version of Visual Studio. Once the download is complete, select Open File. This will then open the Visual Studio installer. Go ahead and click Continue. Alright, inside of the installer we can see our Workloads tab. This shows the different workloads we can install on top of Visual Studio. Take note that the space required without any workloads is about 1 GB. From here, we're going to check desktop development with C++. This will allow us to build our C programs and compile them with Microsoft Visual Studio. You will have the option to download first and install, or install while downloading. If you're running into issues with the download, you could try changing this up, but we're just going to do install while downloading. Next, click Install, and the installation process will begin. This process will take some time to complete. Alright, once the installation is complete, Visual Studio will ask you to sign in with the Microsoft account. If you do not want to do this, you can click Not Now, Maybe Later. You can then select your type of development environment color scheme. I am going to choose dark here. You can choose any of these versions. And then you can also choose these development settings, which will customize the shortcuts and macros that are used when you are developing. General should be good for now. Go ahead and click Start Visual Studio. Alright, we can see the landing page for Visual Studio now. You have the option to clone repositories if you wanted to clone something from a website like GitHub. You can also open a project that's already existing, open a local folder that might have source code in it, or you can create a new project. Right now we're going to just create a new project from scratch. We're going to choose the empty project template. However, you can choose any of these templates that you wish. Go ahead and click the next button to continue. All right, we're now going to name our project. I'm just going to leave it as project 1 for now. The solution file, you can see, is a container for one or more projects. If you're working on multiple executables, you can use solution files to easily manage all of them at the same time. We'll just go ahead and name this Coding Projects. Then we'll go ahead and create. All right, if this is your first time seeing Visual Studio open, you might be a little overwhelmed with all the options on the screen. You can go ahead and hide some of the information you might not need to see right now, so I'm going to go ahead and hide that. We have our Solution Explorer. This is an important dialog. This will show us our different directories that we're working with as we're creating our source files. We can also add header files in this directory here. And the reason we use this is because when Visual Studio goes to build our project, it will reference these directories here. All right, to create our first source file, we're going to right-click the source files directory, navigate down to this Add dialog, and then New Item. From here, you can see there are many different options for different files we can create. We're going to stick with the code files. We're going to use the C++ template, and we will change the name because we're not using a C++. We'll be using C. We'll just change the extension to source.c. You can name this whatever you'd wish. All right, you can see that it has now opened up a source code file for us called source.c under our source files directory. We'll go ahead and add some boilerplate just to create a Hello World program. All right, now that we have that created, we'll go ahead and build it. First, make sure you save it. In order to build a project, we have these options here. We have a debug option. We have a release option. If you don't know what these are, you can look it up. But for now, we're not really going to worry about it. We're just going to stick with debug. And these are your different architectures you can build for. So this would be a x64 would be a 64-bit executable. This x86 would be a 32-bit executable. We're going to stick with 64-bit. And then we will go ahead and build our solution. As you can see, it compiled without any errors. It says build succeeded. We can see this directory here is where our executable output was sent to. Now in Visual Studio, we don't need to open up a separate command line in order to run this. We can just go up here to debug. We can start with debugging, which will start with the debugger attached, or we can start without debugging, which will just open up the developer console and run our application without the debugger. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And as you can see, the console window popped up and we printed out hello world. Some other details you might note here are the process ID and the return code, which can be useful for debugging purposes. All right, that will do it for this tutorial. Let me know down in the comment section if you have any questions on the installation process. If you found the video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more programming tutorial videos.